Hello again, and welcome back to My Life in Film. Today we're going to look at 1989, a much more interesting year for film for me, one where I have seen more and can say that there is going to be more on the list. So, in the top 10, at number 10, we have one of the biggest guilty pleasures of mine, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, for the Friday the 13th series, there have been a lot of trashy ones. There's been a lot of bad ones, a lot of good ones. Okay, there's not been many good ones, but they are slasher fun. And when we decide to take Jason Voorhees and send him to New York via boat, yes, most of the film is on a boat, we have him doing some of the most ridiculous scenes where he's just walking through New York like nothing is happening, hunting down these teenagers from the boat. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. The infamous boxing scene on the rooftop is one of the most famous. And for me, it's just one I can enjoy, however bad it could be. Number 9 is Batman. Yes, this one probably would be higher on a lot of people's lists, but for me, I'm sticking it at number 9 because, well, I'm not actually the biggest Batman character fan. I find him a little bit boring. But then this is the one that really brought the live action to life in the superhero genre. Jack Nicholson is fantastic as the Joker, and we get all of the extra bonuses of being able to build such a big set. So I have to put it on here just because of that. If it wasn't for this one, who knows where this whole genre would be that is so fascinating to watch. So some of the biggest ones I haven't seen. It's going to be a very controversial list, I feel. Do the Right Thing. It's just never been on anywhere around for me to watch. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Yeah, it's a strange one not to have been seen. Say Anything. Again, I'm picking the ones that are highest on Letterboxd, so I just have never really had that much interest in this. I know the sequence with the stereo, and that's about it. I had to put this one on there just because of the fact that it's about a person that turns himself into a robot machine. I've heard so much about it, I've seen so much about it, I just want to watch it. Driving Miss Daisy, we've got to hit up some of these Oscar movies eventually. This is one of them. And Begotten is one of the first found footage-ish movies. Very extreme, apparently. I just want to see what it's all about. Back to the list. Number 8 is Society. Yes, Society is above Batman on my favourites list. Deal with it. This is such a weird movie, and it's so enjoyable because of how bonkers the final sequence is. It just sort of plays out like a general society being higher and lower and all that we've seen before, but how it all plays out to how the high society people act is very entertaining. So we have just like a teenager trying to fit in, but just wait till we get to the giant orgy-ish scene in the final moments, which will leave most of us scratching our heads with disbelief. Number 7 is Born on the 4th of July. Yes, I do like some of the serious movies occasionally. I don't just have trashy horror and action. And for me, this is most likely Tom Cruise's best acting role. It shows the true story of a Vietnam fighter who got injured and wants to campaign against war. Very interesting story. Very interesting career this man had. Uh, we can see all the fact that he had to work hard, not just because of what happened to him, but to help stop other people having to suffer through the same thing. And Tom Cruise is almost unrecognisable at times in this movie. Films I didn't enjoy. We've mentioned I don't like comedy much. And here we go with Uncle Buck and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation returning to the list to prove once again I'm just not into comedy, whoever's in the damn movie. Number 6 is Field of Dreams. This is one that I mainly only watched because of the film studies classes I took. We had to analyse this movie a lot, and it's got a very fantasy element. God, we went so deep into fantasy with this one. But we also have a stunning cast, a very clever idea for a story, even if you don't really understand or like baseball. It just all clicks very nicely, and we can just build it and see if they come. Number 5 is When Harry Met Sally. With what being an easy movie to watch, trying to build on the whole idea of whether men and women can have friendships instead of relationships, it was one that really tested the waters because we've only ever really followed a rom-com from one side before. I do think this is one that's very, very entertaining. It has that infamous "I'll have what she's having" line, which again makes the film even more impactful for what it was trying to do. Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan are fantastic together too. Number 4 is The Abyss. Guess it's when you hear the name James Cameron, you automatically jump to Titanic, Avatar, and Terminator, but we forgot the little gem that was Abyss. It follows a group of scientists and engineers working underwater who stumble across something that is unexplainable, and they have to try and figure out whether it would be trying to kill them or not, and it goes in very, very different directions throughout the film. It's much more about the exploring than just going for a flat-out horror, which is the huge plus for this movie. It helps it evolve a lot more than anything else in this genre. Everything else in this genre just turns into some form of last person standing, which is disappointing. Number 3 is The Dead Poets Society, and it's probably going to continue the trend of seeing Robin Williams high on most years' lists for another couple of weeks. With Dead Poets Society, we get to see how one teacher brought a different approach to teaching his class, which helped them become men, pretty much. There was no strict dialogue which they got bored and tired of, and they were rebelling against more. He let them learn, them explore, them discover themselves. And old Captain at the end, when they all walk out, and they all stand on his desk when he's been fired. Beautiful scene, and proof that Robin Williams is a serious actor instead of just a comedian who does a couple of serious roles. Number 2, we return to Back to the Future with the second installment of this. For me, Back to the Future is in my top 3 ever trilogy, so it's never going to not make many of the top parts of any lists it's on. There's a spoiler for Back to the Future 3's appearance. This one gets to have a campy look at how the future will look, while also poking fun at going back into the past again. Everything about it just works. Even though it is a sequel, it knows how to make itself more original without just copying everything, and it leaves you with the cliffhanger waiting for the next one. So we've approached number 1, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. What more can we say for an Indiana Jones movie? This is the third part in a trilogy. We don't need to worry about the other one once this one came out. But this time we have Indy working with his father, trying to take on Germans again. It does go into much more of the lighter tone, away from what the Temple of Doom brought us. And it does also give us hints that we could get a young Indy when we have the River Phoenix sequence at the early part of the movie. But overall, the banter between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery is absolutely fantastic and takes the movie into a new direction, which is everything you need to know about this type of movie. You can enjoy this one, you like everything about this one, so this is why it makes my number 1 of 1989. What are some of your favourites from 1989? Which ones do you think should have made my list that I haven't even mentioned? And what's your early guesses for 1990 movies? Thank you all for watching, and until next time, we are not going to go back to the future again.